We're going to take a look now at section 2.5. And there are 8 questions in this lesson. And this lesson is about formulas. So I'm going to just talk about formulas for just a minute. Okay. Formulas are equations. Okay, what's a formula that you know? Any formula? Okay, the area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. That's a formula. It's also an equation because it has a left side, it has an equal sign, and it has a right side. Okay? And you know lots and lots of formulas, even if very many of them didn't come to mind right away. You're used to using formulas. Usually when you use formulas, somebody gives you a number to put in for this, somebody gives you a number to put in for this, you put them in, you do some arithmetic, and out pops an answer. What's going to happen today is that we're going to get some formulas, but we're not going to necessarily get all the numbers on the right-hand side. We're going to get some numbers, and we're going to have to solve our equations. So, if I take a look at the lesson, and if you printed these lessons, these notes, my numbers may be different. I'm not sure how that happened, but it did happen. So it'll be basically the same, but the numbers may be a little different, so I apologize for that. Okay, the first question says, substitute the given values into the formula and solve for the unknown variable. Solve for the unknown variable. I start out with A is equal to BH. And by the way, that's the formula for the area of a rectangle, or the area of a parallelogram, or the area of a square if you wanted to. What did they give us? They gave us A is 8, equal sign, and they gave us H is 8. So I keep the B, 8. This is now an equation, and I'm supposed to solve for the unknown. Well, what's unknown? What do you not know? B. The formula, usually you're solving for the area, but this time I'm solving for the base. Now this looks weird. I've got my equation, and I don't have any fractions, I don't have any simplifying to do, I don't have variables on both sides. I look over here to the right-hand side. Now, what's going on between the B and the 8? What operation? Multiplication. That means that 8 is the coefficient of B. But I don't like it on the right-hand side. But do you remember that the commutative property of multiplication says that that is exactly the same as 8 times B? It's the same. B times 8 is the same as 8B. So now, what will you do so that it says B equals? Divide. You'll divide by 8. You'll divide by 8. And this isn't working as far as spacing. And I get 1 is equal to B. Is that okay? All right. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and go to blank paper and do my problems. It will be better. Was that the same problem that was printed for y'all? Okay. The rest of them aren't. Okay? They're the same strategy, but the numbers are a little different. So I apologize. You'll still get a set of problems that match up with MATLAB. Number 2. Here comes a formula. It is S is equal to 4L times W plus 2 times W times H. There's a formula. Let me make that just a little bigger.
What did add an S in there?
Pardon?
On this one, all it is an extra S in the formula.
Oh, okay. Well, just copy mine down.
Okay.
All right. Now, I need to give you some things, and then you figure out what to solve for. So over here, I'm going to tell you that S is 52, that L is 5, and W is 2. So let's plug those numbers into this formula. By the way, I don't know that you recognize this formula. This is the formula for the surface area of a box. And it's a box where the top and bottom, the front and the back are all the same. So there's 4 of those, and then the ends, there are 2 of those. And you don't have
H unknown?
yes, H is unknown. In the place of S, I'll put 52 is equal to 4 times, the length is 5, the width is 2, plus sign, 2 times, the width is 2, and the height, I have no idea. H is unknown. So I can simplify or maybe just clean up a little bit in that. I'll keep my 52, and in the place of 4 times 5 times 2, if I multiply those together, that's 40, plus, and if I multiply 2 times 2, I have 4H. Is that okay? All right. Now, I don't have any fractions. I do not have letter H on both sides, so I'm checking on the right-hand side. What do I need to get rid of?
40.
The 40. So I will subtract 40 from both sides. That gives me 12 is equal to 4H. And what's my last step? Divide by 4, divide by 4. 3 is the height. So sometimes it could be useful for us to solve a formula for a letter other than the one that always is on the left. And in this case, it said, suppose you know S, you know L, you know W, can you figure out the height? Okay, let's do another one. Number 3, suppose I have P is equal to A plus B plus C. This is usually considered the formula for the perimeter of a triangle. You add the 3 sides together. And I'm going to tell you that P is 31, that A is 9, and B is 11. What does that mean I'm going to be solving for? C. Okay, so in the place of P, I put 31 is equal to 9 plus 11 plus unknown C. Can I simplify on either side? Yes. I'm going to keep my 31 is equal to, I'm going to add up the 9 and 11 for 20 plus C. Okay, all I have is a variable on the right-hand side. What am I going to do as my next step? Good. Subtract 20, and I have 11 is C, and the problem's over. Now, things change just a little bit when you get to question number 4. But let me say this. When you take a test over all the material, 1.8 through all of Chapter 2, there will only be one question that comes from this lesson, and it will be similar to 1, 2, or 3. It will be kind of like those. All right, so let's go ahead, though, and see what's in store in number 4. It is a real important skill. Number 4, what if I started and said, solve for H, and I gave you the formula. F is equal to 4GH. and I don't give you any other numbers. Okay? And we're just like, well, then I can't do this one. Yes, you can. What you have to do is treat everything except the h as a number, even if it's not a number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a nice purple color on h. It is the only thing that's to be treated as a variable. Now, you wouldn't even worry about this if these were all numbers. If I said 24 is equal to 4 times 3 times h, and you could actually see that. If I said that, wouldn't you take the 4 times 3 and in your head you'd turn it into its product, which is 12, and then what would you do to both sides? You'd divide both sides by 12, because these would combine together to be the coefficient. And that would have been no big deal. This is actually no big deal as well. 4 and g are both factors of the coefficient. So what I'm going to do is divide by them. I'm going to divide by 4g. Will that make the 4 and the g cancel out?
Yes.
But if I do it to the right side, I have to do it to the left side. So I divided by 4g. Now, in my little number problem that was off to the side, when I divided both sides by 12, we could actually perform this division. You said, oh yeah, 24 divided by 12 is 2. What seems to bother people the most is that you cannot perform this division. Does 4g go into f evenly? Well, I have no idea because I don't know what f and g stand for. Well, treat it like you would any improper fraction that you can't divide. Leave it. F over 4g is h. And what you've done is you've reorganized the formula so that now instead of it saying f equals, now it says h equals. This is an important skill. I won't be testing on it on your first test, but it is an important skill. What you're doing is you're treating everything in the problem that what you were not told to solve for, you're treating everything else as if it's a number. It's either a coefficient or it's a constant. All right, let's look at problem number 5. Number 5 says, solve for a. Okay, so whatever this formula is, I'm going to try to solve it for a. And the formula is V is equal to A Q T. Now, when the problem said solve for A, that makes A the variable. And everything else is to be treated as a number. Alrighty. If A is going to get by itself, what do I have to get rid of? The Q and the T. Now, what's going on between the Q and the T and letter A? What operation's going on? Multiplication. Then do you agree, if you multiply times the variable, then you're the coefficient. You're like 5x. You're like 17y. You, QT, are the coefficient. So how will you get rid of a coefficient? Divide. I will divide by QT. Just like in the previous problem, I divided by 4g. Does that cause the Q and the T to divide out?
Yes.
Yes. So then you need to divide the other side by QT. And what do you get when you divide V by QT?
A equals V over Q.
Yes. I'm going to have an A on the right-hand side, and it's equal to V over QT. Now, if this lesson is somewhat disturbing you, it's because it's extremely abstract. You are used to working with numbers and doing calculations. But what I'm asking you to try to do is mimic the same activity, it's just that it's with letters. If you would have added this, then add it. If you would have divided, then divide it. All right, let's look at another one. Let's look at number 6. The instructions will say solve for y. And I have 4x plus y is equal to 10. All right, when they say solve for y, then in my mind, letter y becomes the only variable there is. Which means, what do you have to get rid of? The 4x, the x term, the 4x. Well, what's going on between 4x and y? Addition. And what's the inverse of addition? Subtraction. So I will subtract 4x. Will that make that term go away?
Yes.
And I will subtract 4x. That leaves me on the left-hand side with y equals, can I subtract a 4x from a 10? No, they are not like terms. So what will I write down? 10 minus 4x. If you could be open to the idea that this is actually easier because you don't have to perform the operation. I don't have to get my calculator out and figure out what that difference will be. I can't. Okay, excellent question. What's the purpose of this? There will be a lot of times in algebra, and a lot of them in chapter 3 that we'll be heading into, where we get a formula written in one way, and we really, really need to have it written another way. Because if it's written another way, it has secret information to give to us, but only if it's written in this special way. And so this actually, number 6, is an example of that. When we get into chapter 3, we're going to be graphing linear equations. And there is a tremendous value in taking a linear equation and getting it in the form y equals. But I will save those secrets till we get to chapter 3. But that's just one application. There are just times when you need a particular variable isolated. Okay, we have one more. Yay. Number 7. Oh, I'm sorry.
2.
I lied. There are 2 more. We have one more formula problem, really, and it says to solve for t. And the formula is P is equal to T plus R plus S. All right, T is my unknown. I want to solve for T. I've kind of made a big blob out of it. Well, what do I have to get rid of? R and S. I can do them one at a time, or I can do them both at once. What's going on between the R and the T, the S and the T?
Addition.
Addition. And what's the inverse? Subtraction. So I'm going to subtract R, and because we're pretty good, I'm going to subtract S on the same step. That will make them go away. But if I did it to the right side, I have to do it to the left side. On the right side, all I have is a T. On the left side, what do I have?
P minus R minus S.
P minus R minus S. The formula has been rewritten so that now it's solved for letter T. All right, last one. Number 8 looks real different. It has a description. It tells you what the perimeter of a geometric shape is, or how you calculate perimeter. What is perimeter? It's the sum of all the sides. It's the length all the way around. All right, they draw for you, and mine won't be very good, but it looks a little bit like a kite. It's actually a pentagram. Pentagon, I'm sorry, pentagram, special kind. Okay, and it says This side is x, this side is x, this side is x, but the long ones are 2x. Now, my problem is a little different than that one. Mine, it says that those are 2x instead of 2.5. It says that the sum, or the perimeter, is 84. Now, can you help me out to write an equation in terms of these sides and using the fact that the sum, or the perimeter, is 84? What could I write down?
84 equals.
84 equals. Okay, you have already simplified in your head. I'm going to not do that just yet. I'm going to have x plus x plus x. That's this one, and this one. April called it 3x because she added them in her head. Plus 2x and 2x, which is 4x, but I'm not going to add them up just yet. Okay, so I've written it down in the simplest of all forms, and most of you were more than willing to say, well, these make up 3x, these make up 4x, and so really 84 is equal to 7x, and now divide by 7, and 12 is equal to x. The question will ask you for the lengths of the sides of the pentagon. You've got that the x is 12. What else can you determine? What's 2x? 24. So in this one, we were using a formula. We're using the formula for perimeter. We are using our abilities to solve these equations. And so this was kind of a geometric application of our formulas. Is that okay? All righty. That concludes 2.5.